This is the Clark Connection Podcast, your weekly dose of inspiration and power. We'll dive deep into the stories and strategies that ignite personal growth and entrepreneurial fire. Join us as we empower you to take control, level up your leadership, and build the life you deserve. Get ready to rise, to thrive, and to finally become the leader of your own destiny. Let's go. And welcome back to the Clark Connection Podcast. It's great to have you on here. I'm your host, Aaron Clark, aka The Coach. And I am absolutely thrilled to kick off a brand new series we're calling Ask the Coach. In this exciting journey, we'll be joined by my incredible co-host, Caitlin Michelet, who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in leadership development. Together, we're diving deep into the nuances of what it means to be a leader today. We'll tackle essential topics like building confidence, navigating those tricky social dynamics in the workplace, and addressing the challenges that every leader faces. That our goal is to provide you with practical insights and real-life scenarios that empower you on your leadership journey. Plus, we're going to emphasize the importance of continual learning through reading and self-development because, let's face it, there's always more to learn. Now, this episode of Ask the Coach is brought to you by our sponsor, Rhino Electric. Just like they power your home without shocking your wallet, we're here to power your leadership without overwhelming your mind. Hit up the guys at Rhino Electric and tell them Coach Clark sent you. All of their contact information, it is listed below. Also, if you're looking to connect with me, you can reach out to me on all social media at coach_A_Clark or via my website. And so also, if you have questions, so you want to submit your questions to Ask the Coach, I'm also going to be including below that there is a link that ask your questions. It could be on leadership, personal growth. It could be a situation at work, anything like that. You can submit it there. Also, feel free to just drop it in the comments. And who knows, we may go through and break down that situation scenario. Look, the more details, the better. It's going to allow us to have a better insight of what's going on through those situations and read those out and loud and live. And so also just want to quickly introduce you to Caitlin Michelet. She's earned her bachelor's in psychology from Southeastern Louisiana University. And while there, she was a Lionette dance team member. She also served as a trainer for Raising Cane's and opening team as part of the opening team. So basically, whenever they open up a new Cane's, she was the person who went and helped train the entire staff for that Raising Cane's location. They currently serving as the assistant director of admissions at Delta College. And Caitlin has now been married for 3 years and is the proud mother of one. Let's go ahead and get Caitlin on here. And welcome to the Clark Connection Podcast, Caitlin.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so glad you could be on and join us. Excited to have you on for this new segment of Ask the Coach. But for those that may not know you, tell us a little bit more about your leadership development. What gets you excited for all of this stuff?
Sure. Well, before we go into that, I do want to say, super proud of you because I'm excited to be here. I am, but it's been a long time coming, I think, because I've been kind of in the background for a little while. I remember when you started the podcast. I actually remember when it was just an idea. And now it's a reality, and you've been doing it for a year. But what I love is that you're still trying to kind of keep things fresh and come up with new ideas. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of this. I think it'll help a lot of people. So on that note, going back to my background.
Yeah, I was about to say to you, not to me.
Yeah. Well, I'll kind of work backwards because I do work at Delta College in admissions. And that's where we've worked together for about 4 years. I've been there at Delta College for 5 now. Grown so much. But I went to Southeastern and graduated in psychology. I've been just kind of a growing leader for a long time. So I'm excited to talk more about that today and, moving forward with you.
Yeah. And so, yeah, all of that is great information. I do appreciate you getting on here. And so what would you say, because I know we'll eventually get into talking a little bit more about what we're wanting to do with this segment, but what would you say is the one leadership lesson that has shaped you?
Oh my gosh, there's so many, so it's hard to pick one. I think it kind of depends on the day, which one has shaped me the most or is the most important on that day. But I think it has to be confidence. And you and I were just talking about this last night. Confidence is almost kind of an overused word. It can apply to a lot of different things, and a lot of people have different kind of meanings for what confidence is. But that's the number one thing that I've learned is just kind of almost fake it till you make it. I've really loved the phrase I've kind of kept in my mind: dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. Um, you gotta just believe that you can, even if maybe you have a lot more to learn. Everybody does, right? Everybody does. That's a hugely important thing, is knowing that you have so much more to learn, but being confident in that I will, and I'm going to be good at it. I'm going to make sure that I am.
Right. And I definitely want to hit on that when you said the dress to impress. That's one I'll tell any and everybody that is that how you're dressed, how you're looking, that it gives off a certain vibe to the people around you when they see you, when they meet you. To me, that's almost, people used to would say, they'd pick on one of my favorite players of all time was Deion Sanders, because he was, you look good, you feel good, you play good. Another one that would always talk about that was Jerry Rice, even though he wasn't as flashy as Deion, but he would put on his gear and they start running in place for 60 seconds. If he didn't like how he felt, he went and got new gear before a game. And so how you look and present yourself is so vitally important to anything. So that's definitely a good one to throw in there on that. And so and then kind of as we go in, guys, we will talk a little bit more. We will bring in, get to know Caitlin a little bit better, a little bit more as we go throughout here. But kind of what we're wanting to do in this segment and section of Ask the Coach is to be able for you to submit any questions that you might have. This could be on leadership issues. It could be personal growth. It could be anything that maybe you're dealing with a situation at work, whatever. Getting some live coaching, live feedback. So you can reach us on social media. You could send it to the Clark Connection podcast on Instagram or Facebook, or you could hit it to me on all socials at coach_A_Clark. And we also, Caitlin put together a little form. That link is going to be down below. You can use that and submit any of those questions that way.
Yeah, the great thing about that is that it will let you stay anonymous. So if you want to just submit your requests, privately, that'll be great. But yeah, I kind of think of it like when I got questions, I come to you. What would you do? What do you think? And usually you turn it right back around on me and, well, what do you want to do? But not everybody has that. Not everybody has, a mentor or somebody to go to and see their opinions on stuff. So this is that. I love that.
Right. Well, and it didn't start off like that with you. So
yeah,
there was a lot of, all right, so this is what I would do. Does that make sense? But
yeah. Many years later, now it's
so a lot of it now is, all right, cool. What do you want to do? Go mess it up. We can fix it.
Do it.
So
best way to learn.
Yeah, well, the best way to learn is from somebody else's experience. The second best is from your own, but
Your own mistakes.
So, all right, I know you went and found some questions, some situations, some scenarios for us to go through. Let's go ahead and let's go into question number 1.
Sure. All right. So, and these questions came from a Reddit, subreddit thread. Obviously, we, still need some kind of viewer submissions and things like that. So, like Aaron said, comment, send them in via email, social media, or the Google Drive. But these came from a subreddit called Leadership. So found a few that I thought might be kind of interesting topics of conversation today. So,
And they could even, wherever they're listening to this, they could just drop the comments there as well. So,
yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Okay. So this one is titled Just Looking for Thoughts About an Experience with a Leader. It's got a little bit of context here. At a recent work event, I was speaking with a former coworker who had returned for this one event, and I struck up a conversation with him about his new job. I asked him if he had to go to the office every day, just on certain days. He answered the question, and the next thing I knew, the head boss of the organization just swooped in and hijacked the whole conversation, where he and the former coworker both turned their backs on me and continued talking. I felt like I was intruding on the conversation, so I just walked away. I wasn't offended, but I was a little like, wow, okay. I feel like we've all been there. I'm not sure it wasn't intentional, but that just got me thinking that I should be more aware of what's going on and not do something like that. I'm just looking for your thoughts on what that would mean to you. Do you feel like you would be offended by something like that or something else? Or have you experienced something like this before?
all right. So making sure I'm following before I give my answer. So I'm at an event.
Mm-hmm.
I see a former coworker. We're chatting about what's going on, and then the coworker's boss comes and grabs them real quick and says, and they
I think it's the boss of where they both used to work together.
all right.
But either way, like a big boss.
Okay, so it wasn't like my boss that came in, and it was mine and the coworker's former boss.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, yeah, I wouldn't take too much offense to that. But without having a whole lot of context to that,
Mm-hmm.
what was the role of me being the coworker there? What was the coworker's role while we were with the said organization? Were you close with the former boss?
Mm-hmm.
I could see it. So if, for instance, if I showed up at an event and one of my, if Coach Sid were there, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
this is one that recently happened for me. We showed up at an event. I didn't realize he was there. Get to kind of talking real quick, and then naturally, being the mayor president, he gets pulled away for something
Right.
else. Absolutely zero offense taken by me, because I don't exactly know what was going on. Some of it could have been like, hey, this is stuff that you can't hear. I'm not exactly sure. Also wasn't sure, is the coworker that I was talking with, is that still their boss? I wasn't sure from that either.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it was, well, yeah, then I have no right to hear whatever conversation, because they may have been coming in and going, hey, I saw this. I need you to go talk about whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or something happened at the office. It's not really, I hate to say it's not that big a deal. And if you and the coworker were the friend, y'all will eventually connect. You're at an event. Chances are it's not like a 10-minute long thing.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, I feel like we're kind of jumping to conclusions here. If I'm the poster, you got your feelings hurt a little bit over something that I don't. It doesn't seem personal at all. And like I said, I don't know the extent of the relationships, but walk away. Like it's okay. I feel like most adults don't intentionally hurt other adults' feelings. that's
Right.
a very immature thing. And once you realize that, life gets so much easier. It's like, they didn't mean to hurt my feelings, move on.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. I think the whoever posted it did the right thing, because if it was like, all right, you're sitting there 1 minute, 2 minutes, because I would have probably hung around too if I was wanting to, if it was a friend that I wanted to speak with, and then when I realized, oh, it's not ending quick, hey, just move on. Hey, you're at an event. I don't know what type of event. Chances are it's a conference or a networking event. Hey, go meet more people.
Yeah. The networker in you's like, move on anyway.
You got to, but that's so applicable to anything else. If the door is shut, why keep trying to go through, or there's a window that you're trying to crawl through.
Mm-hmm.
You look over here, there's a door. Go through the door. Stop trying to walk through or crawl through a window. There's another door somewhere.
I feel like there's also a good lesson with this story for the former coworker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say that this is a innocent conversation that maybe this coworker could have been involved in. And like you and I have talked about this, I don't think there needed to be an introduction because it seemed like everybody knew everybody, but kind of involving that other person. But if the poster was shut out, maybe it was a conversation that needed to be more private.
Yeah. But then also looking at it too, if I really need to have a private conversation with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably, I'm gonna, hey, can I talk to you over here for a second? Or
Yeah.
can you excuse us?
Right.
So that's one that you can always look at from the other point of view. What would you do in the other person's situation? Even if you were the coworker. So if me and my coworker were talking and my boss came up and was like, all right, like, hey, real quick, I would probably, hey, excuse us and move away. So again, I don't know everything.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah.
There's a lot of, because it was pretty vague, a lot of different things. I would love to know more context.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the question was what that would mean to you. They're overthinking it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. But it's a good one to talk about, and just the how should you do that in those situations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Great first question.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one. We got, good bit of context without a whole page of a post.
Right. And before,
All right. Well,
guys, seriously, if you've got questions, drop those comments below. Also, continue helping us grow. Give us a like, subscribe, follow, to help continue grow the Clark Connection podcast, and bring about all these great questions.
yes. Awesome. You ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
This one has even less context. Okay, so we're going to have to kind of connect a lot of dots.
Okay.
Fill in the blanks. All right, so the title is Just Got Promoted, but the hateful comments are making it hard.
Naturally.
Right? I know. I think a couple of years ago, well, we'll circle back.
Yeah.
But let me read the little bit of context and we'll go forward. So just got promoted, hateful comments are making it hard. They say mostly title. So I guess mostly a title promotion. Just got promoted to team lead, but some former teammates are now below me and the hateful comments are making it hard for me. Any tips on how to deal with this?
All right. So again, without having a whole lot of context other than I'm assuming this would be that me and you were both that whatever, we're on the floor, we're working, me and you were right here.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they bump me up and just say, all right, you're making the most widgets, you're the team lead. Because that's how it happens a lot.
Naturally, right.
A lot of people take the best salesman, widget maker, whatever, which, by the way, I totally disagree with. That's one.
Yeah.
I'll argue with people that I really want like the second or third best one that has a real good idea of the concepts, systems, and flows, understands how things should be working, and then put them as a team lead. Somebody who like really doesn't want to be the team lead. And I know that's another rabbit hole I can go down for a while because, let's say team lead isn't that, she's the best or he is the best widget maker or producer, and all of a sudden they don't do a good job as team lead and they didn't give them the onboarding and the support and whatnot that they need. So now you just lost your best producer.
Right.
And probably a good employee because they weren't that moved into the leadership role the right way.
Happens all the time.
Oh, all the time. All the time. And so the first thing I would probably tell whoever this is, first off, don't worry about the comments there. People, welcome to leadership. I've talked about the 5 levels of leadership all the time. The first one is position. And congratulations, you made it there. So first off, congratulations on the position. And, people have to do what you say to do because you have the position. But don't stay there and don't worry about the hateful comments. It's, if you're worried about those things, you can't go on and be the best that you could be if you're always worried about making everybody else happy. It's just not going to happen. It's not possible. It's not plausible. It's, we can see it just in the previous election. You got 50% of the country that votes for Donald Trump, 50% that votes for Kamala Harris. I mean, they're right on there. You look at every election, they're always so close. So at some point, half the people are going to like you and half the people are not going to like you.
Yeah.
And some of it, it's good to get the feedback on it. Now, if they're just saying it's just a title, well, then that's a good opportunity for you to grow as a person. And I feel like you must have stole this from one of the people that I work with and mentor, because I feel like I've had this conversation at least 100 million times with people over the years.
At least once.
Once that you know about.
Yeah.
But it's good. I was there as well. The first time you get moved up, you're worried. I'll never forget the first time I was special teams coordinator, and I was so worried about what people said that it took me 2 games to it took me all off season and like 2 games to finally settle in and go, it doesn't matter what they say. I've been given a task to do. I've got to go do it. And it took me a little while to even, seeing older coaches that when I would say, all right, I need you to do this during this drill or for this part of the thing. And they would, all right, cool. And they just go do it. And you're like, so the 48-year-old coach just listened to the 22-year-old coach. And it's not something we're used to because culturally, you look at anything all throughout high school. The seniors are the leaders. And so if you're a junior, you can't be a leader. If you're a sophomore, you can't be a leader. If you're a freshman, you can't be a leader, which is total nonsense. Because once you get out of that realm, it doesn't matter. You'll have some excellent leaders that are many years younger than you. So that's the first thing I would tell you is don't worry what they're saying. If they're talking bad, that means you're doing something right. So you're doing the right thing. The next thing I would tell you to do in those 5 levels of leadership is move to level 2, which is permission, which means you're getting people, you're in the phase where you're developing relationships with people. It's more about relationships and developing with them. get to know them, get to know their hopes, their dreams, their fears, figure out exactly what it is they want to do and help them accomplish those things. But don't stay there, because level 2 leaders often end up having to result to become on a level 1. You want to move to level 3 quickly, because that's production. Just because people like you, great. But do you get stuff done? People are going to follow you naturally because you get stuff done. And then move on to level 4, which is people production. You start to develop other leaders, that you're helping them to grow. And then level 5 is the pinnacle, which is where you're producing leaders who produce other leaders. And just know that you're going to be on all 5 of those levels. You're going to be somewhere between 1 and 5 with everybody you lead. It's natural. It's one. We did one at Delta not too long ago, where I know you were interested, like, let me see what everybody said. And it was like, oh, wow, you're 1 here. And then with some people, you're 4, some you're 5. I was like, that's just how it is. It's not, it's not a knock on you. It's not saying, oh, you're only on level 1. You're garbage. That's just where you are. You get to move up.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I would tell them to do after, talking about that, is, what are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you doing to grow yourself? Because now that you're in that leadership role, and this is for anybody listening, if you're not working and growing yourself, why are you not reading? Why are you not listening to positive audio? Why are you not exercising? Why are you not meditating? Why are you not doing that? What is it called? I just blanked.
Positive audio? You said
Not
that one?
positive audio. Affirmations. Why are you not affirming yourself? Why? Because you have more conversations with yourself than anybody else. Why are you not talking good about yourself? Because, guys, what you put in is going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I've got a whole gang full of stuff back here of books and everything else. Some I haven't read yet, but I'm on the road to reading everything that's on my shelf. So it's not enough. And don't give me I don't have time. No, you're not making time. So that's what I would tell you next, is you really got to start focusing on growing yourself to become a better person. So read, and there's so many just good, quick little books that you can read. One that I would tell everybody is, so based off the 5 levels of leadership, it's How Successful People Lead.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, it's like this big.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like, hey, here's one that I just finished.
Right.
It's not like this. I don't have a good one right here, but
I mean, it's about the size of the palm of your hand.
actually, this is it right here. How Successful People Lead. It's literally this tiny. So, compared books.
That was one of the first ones that you had me read.
Yes, it is. It's so, let's start with anything John Maxwell. I highly, highly, highly recommend. And so that's what I would do, is work to see. But as you get to know your people and grow, they'll eventually start wanting to see you be successful and produce.
Yeah. That's a complicated one. I mean, it's a kind of short question, not a lot of context. And it sounds like such a simple question, as far as like, well, how do these hateful comments, how do I get them to not hurt my feelings? It's not that simple. I mean, that's pretty much what you and I have been working on for years. Like, that's what it always kind of comes back to. But like we talked about earlier, it's not personal, kind of almost like a get over yourself kind of thing. It's not about you.
Mm-hmm.
I like to tell myself that people just have to you have to complain about your boss. Like, it's mandatory,
Well, unless you're the world's greatest boss, and then I don't know. I know people complain about me, and I hate to say I don't care, but as long as it's more like, if he wasn't just kind of whatever and it's not, I can't stand that dude like that.
Right.
That that's when you run into issues, is because when they're like completely derogatory and like if they're like that towards whoever wrote that, like, oh, they hate me. I hate them. They're this, they're that. That's when you really want to start self-evaluating. What am I doing that's causing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I think the word hateful really is. I mean, that they could be bad. We don't know what the poster, what they're. And again, in the context, it says, the hateful comments are making it hard for me. Any tips on how to deal with this? So, I mean, I just think back to kind of when I was working my way up and, was first promoted. I definitely had a similar experience to this. And I remember we just stuck to our standards, don't make it personal. In fact, make it even more kind of professional, drawing those lines, drawing those boundaries. You can feel however you want about me. That's okay. But you're going to meet our standards, or we're going to do some corrections until either you do or you don't work here anymore. So these things, I feel like if you stick and focus on the work, focus on maintaining your standards and your professional boundaries, these things either work themselves out or they work themselves out the door. I hate to say it that way, but yeah, when you're kind of crossing those lines into hatefulness, it doesn't sound like a positive work environment, that's for sure.
Right. And kind of where I took it was more, it's more about the title. They only got this job because of the title.
Right. And those are the kind of natural complaints.
And that's gonna happen, which is why I like to do a lot of whenever I'm looking to move up somebody in the organization. I did it a lot with you.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, all right, hey, I need to get this done. Who can you get to help do this? And trying to build that way when you naturally, whoever moves up next, it's kind of a natural, like, oh, wow, good job, man. We're proud of Caitlin. So we want to do well because we like Caitlin. And so not all places are like that. But the hateful, I feel like it just comes with the territory. It's just a natural thing.
The complaints definitely come with the territory. I remember you and I referencing Chandler Bing in Friends, and when he got promoted, and it was like, you're not friends anymore. You're the boss. Boss man Bing. You can't be. Y'all aren't tight like that anymore. That's just how it is. Make other friends.
Yeah, and that's what you really have to do, is really focus on that. But the reading, like if you're not reading, I would tell whoever that was, you've got to start reading.
Mm-hmm.
It's you, if you're wanting to eventually pick up 1,000 pounds, if you don't ever start working out, you're not going to ever be able to pick out 1,000 pounds. So same thing, you want to successfully lead, you have to read. All leaders are readers.
Yeah.
Not all readers are leaders, though.
Yeah. I want to clarify from someone that really has been there recently, why the reading and positive audio and the personal training and development is so important. Because a second ago I said, make other friends. And I think that has been really important to me in a leadership position, is being able to have those friends that are kind of lateral to me in the company, in our system. Cause I can't go and vent to my people, my team. That's not fair. So I've got to talk to people either on the same level or higher than me. And that has been really important. But the books and the positive audio, that is a support. Like, you can kind of choose your level of where you want to be, who you want to learn from, what you want to learn. Yeah. Like, especially if you don't have someone like that, a mentor or, equal level support. You have the resources are there. The resources are out there. And you don't have to worry about kind of muddying up. Yeah, for sure. I mean, absolutely. And you don't have to worry about muddying up the waters in
$10
in your team. Yeah, $10. I mean, and there are some really great ones.
I mean, do you know how much it costs just, I mean, I charge more than that for a one-on-one session.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even want to pretend to know what John Maxwell gets for a one-on-one session.
Yeah.
I know when he shows up to an event to speak to people, it's 20,000 plus.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been at it forever. He's the leadership guru, and he's given me his knowledge for $10.
Exactly. You just put it all in a book, readily available. Yeah, those were really good tips. I was writing them down, so don't stress. Don't stress about it, but listen, to what they're saying and use that information to decide kind of, okay, where am I at, on my leadership journey, on my level of leadership. And then use that to move up to level 2 and higher.
Well, and then like you said at the beginning too, have that having the confidence to know you don't need to turn around and react to it. They're intentionally seeing what they can do to get to you as well. That's
so true. Some people will do that. But yeah, and I think I told you this yesterday. It's a fine line between listening and taking in, the information as far as where did I go wrong today? What mistakes did I make today? What mistakes did I make this week, this month? And taking ownership of those things to learn from them. But there's a fine line. You have to draw that line in the sand between ownership and taking it personal. Getting your feelings hurt.
It's in, I was kind of laughing at one of the previous episodes with Scott Parker, Rhino Electric, and he often talks about, man, I got thick skin. I got to have thick skin. And you do. It's one that I would tell when people would ask me, how did you survive coaching as long as you did? And I would still be coaching. I had my son not wanted to race motocross. You just learned that if those people could do what I'm doing, they would be right here with me. But they can't. It's my job to, they block the noise out. It always reminds me, even there was one, the commercial, love Kobe Bryant, right when he retired, where they did with the, and I'm trying to think of the name of the song, but they did it. The rendition of was "I've been hating you." All my, and they're talking, everybody's talking as Kobe walks off the court for the final time, and everybody's like, "Boo, boo," and he didn't care.
Yeah,
he would often go, "Yeah, like it's there. Don't care what you think." And so as we're kind of wrapping up, guys. If you do, again, reach out to us, give us you can drop the comments below if you have your questions, or like Caitlin was saying, if you're wanting to stay anonymous, there is the link below that you can click on, fill it out. We will get that and go over this on the air.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, context is important. So, whatever details you feel comfortable including, that would help us.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put down like,
yes, names.
My boss, Aaron Clark.
Man, that's what I was going to say next week.
He does not care about anybody's feelings. I mean, obviously, they try not to go like that deep, but give us some context of what's been going on. And that way it makes it a little bit easier for us to do that. And so, I had even one idea, like if you're wanting to, like you could submit like a voice note or something like that. That would be kind of cool. But
Yeah.
we'll just play it live if whatever your situation is. So definitely don't be like that Caitlin character. Let me tell you about her. She is evil. Uh, yeah. Please don't do that because I that one won't make it on the air. But
Pause.
something we're going to be trying to be bringing about at least. Uh, that we're going to start off probably bi-weekly at first. Still bringing in the other guest, but this is one that I think is that we can add to help give more value to you, the listener. And so, before we go, Caitlin, that because I did mention it, what is one book though that you would recommend any new leader reads?
Okay. Well, I know earlier you talked about how successful people lead. So that's a good one just to give you a kind of breakdown of the levels of leadership and what they mean. But it obviously is little. It doesn't go very deep into any of the 5 levels. Can I give you 2?
Go for it.
Okay, so right now I'm reading Developing the Leader Within You, and that is it's John Maxwell also, yeah, and that is going deeper into those 5 levels. So it still follows the 5 levels, talks about them a lot, but what all is entailed in that is kind of the longer version, and talks about. I think I remember even after reading How Successful People Lead, I said to you, okay, so then how do I get better? How do I move up the levels? You said, oh, we'll get there. So that's that. Developing the Leader Within You, reading that one right now. But for the leader that is wanting to move up or maybe newer to, leadership positions, or someone that's been a leader for, decades, but never gotten into the literature. Classic is the Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a really good one. Fun fact, that is the favorite book of Charles Manson. I mean, he's a good leader, man. he had people following him.
I talked about that in one episode. What defines a leader? Well, if you've got people following you,
Yeah,
Manson was a good leader.
it's a good one.
Good leader. Teddy Roosevelt, good leader. And
He talks about Abraham Lincoln a lot. So I learned a lot about Lincoln and got another book about Lincoln that I'm planning on reading. Even I think it was Dale Carnegie's dog.
yeah,
Someone someone named their dog Tippy after Lincoln. So yeah, just that's a really good one, especially to get started, on your leadership and literature journey. So definitely recommend that one.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Caitlin, I appreciate you getting that first episode going.
Yeah, it was
I'm excited to see what the listeners will bring for us.
Me too.
In the future. So thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Bye, guys.
Bye. And that's a wrap on the first edition of Ask the Coach here on the Clark Connection podcast. Huge thanks to my co-host, Caitlin Michelet, for bringing such insight and authenticity to today's conversation. And we covered a lot of ground, guys. We talked about confidence, communication, navigating social dynamics, embracing the challenges that come with leadership. And so whether you're stepping into a leadership role or you're a veteran leader, remember, leadership is a journey, not a destination. It's about growing through what you go through, building strong relationships, and staying grounded in who you are and not what others say about you. And so, couple of key takeaways that we got. I'm going to share that on my screen real quick. Remember, your confidence can be built. And it comes about by doing it over and over and over again. It takes 10,000 hours to become a professional. And remember, feedback is a fuel, not a verdict. Somebody's opinion of you doesn't have to be your reality. It's also important to remember personal growth is not optional. It's essential. If you aren't growing as a leader, you aren't being everything that you can to help your team. And finally, leadership. It's about influence, not a position. If you are in leadership because you want the accolades, you're in it for the wrong reasons, guys. And so thanks for tuning in today. If you found value in this episode, make sure you subscribe and then share it with someone who's growing in their leadership. And remember, you can send in your questions for future Ask the Coach episodes. Look, drop a comment or fill out. Go to that link and fill out that form so you can get your questions asked on here. And remember, you don't need to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So keep leading, keep growing, and keep innovating. Until next time, stay inspired and connected, and I will see you on the next episode of the Clark Connection Podcast. Thanks for listening to the Clark Connection Podcast, where my goal is to add value to you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. You can also connect with me via my website, coachaclark.com, or on all socials at coach_a_Clark. The links are in the description. Huge thanks to my sponsors, Wayne with 7K Metals, Bobby with the Comfy Quest LLC, Andrew with Automate Integrate Professional Services, Joseph with Landscape King, and Chris and Jess with C&J Embroidery. We look forward to bringing you more great content. See you next week.